because it's a couple days later. And check out what we got here. This is a KTM 250 XCF. You talk about putting your money where your mouth is. I'm like, you know what? I think I should try a 250. So I've got about 5 minutes down on this KTM 250. This thing would be the direct competitor to that Yamaha, or rather maybe since the Yamaha is the second one to the table, perhaps the Yamaha is the contender for this bike, but they're essentially the same bike. You've got the KTM XCF to pit against that Yamaha YZ250FX. Both these things are 250s, and I've just ridden it over from my house to the Sagebrush single track here. Just put the hour meter on it. Probably has 0.1 hour on it right now. Grab another gear. And man, these little 250s can haul. And in this stuff, where you're not wide open, you're dodging through the sagebrush, man, they feel good, really good. Drop a gear, get back on it. Yeah, that thing feels good. Wheelie through the ditch. It's like, what more power do you need? Who needs a 450 when you got one of these torquey little race bikes? Sure, you're gonna have to ride this a little higher on the RPMs to get the same speeds out of it as the 450, but dang, it's a, listen to that, just boom, you get on the gas, out of those corners, grab a gear, and the motor just comes to life, just flies. And yes, for those of you that don't know, this is moving. I mean, I'm not like the fastest rider in the world, but haha, wheelie through a little acceleration whoops here. Yeah, this thing, it's lively, just like that Yamaha. And the fun thing about, you know, a four-stroke, obviously, you guys that pay attention to the channel know I'm now kind of partial to the two-strokes, but the fun thing about a four-stroke is, man, these little babies, they will just rev very high. And so it's fun to just stay in the gear, rev it out to 12 or 13,000 RPMs. You know, instead of shifting like on my 300 two-stroke, I'm always shifting early and letting it pull through the power. But on these suckers, no, you don't need a shift. Yeah, that is fun. Little steep downhill and then uphill. Yes, holy crap. Fast little machine. I don't know why I call them little. These things aren't little. I said that about the Yamaha. It's not little, full-size bike. It's tall. Look at that, just floating the wheel. Floating the wheel coming up out of those ravines. Because it's got a lot of juice. Man, there's a lot more oomph in these bikes, these 250s, than you'd expect. And the suspension is good. So on this, I set the sag. This XC 250 XCF manual said go to 110 millimeters of sag. I put it to 108. I'm used to riding 105, 103, 105 on my 300 XC. This one, for whatever reason, said to go to 110. I didn't quite go to 110, but then I set up the compression and the rebound on the fork and the shock to KTM's sport specifications, not their comfort or normal. I set it up a little bit stiffer, and guys could even go stiffer than this. I could go a little stiffer probably, but I just kind of wanted to see what the sport setting was like. And I have to say, the suspension is good, but I knew that going in because I've got a 300 XC. So it's got the exact same setup. I should be coming around on my son here. Here he is. Hey buddy. How's it going? Good. I just sent Connor off. He's on that little CRF 50. This track is like, I can't remember, 4 miles. It takes me what, 10 minutes to do all the way there and back, out and back. So we'll see how far he gets by the time I catch him again. Anyway, as I was saying, I knew the suspension was going to be good because I've got time on this platform, you know, on my 300. So I know the platform pretty well. And the fun thing is, now this is the third bike in the XC lineup that I've owned. I've owned the 350 XCF, I've owned the 300 XC, and now this 250 XCF. And for the type of riding that I've been doing, the XC lineup really suits me well. It can get out and boogie, out and do this stuff. Not the 300, not the XCWs can't do this, because they can as well. But I like the gearing a little bit more. Going with the flow here. It feels so good to get into a flow. Just can't tell you. Can't stress it enough. If you can get, you know, into a good flow. I was in the wrong gear there. That was an upshift when I'm on a 300 two-stroke, not a 250 4-stroke. Shift down, grab that gear, because the thing is this bike, it likes to be pushed. You ride it up high, you know, and it wants to just move. And I like it. I mean, honestly, I know I've done a lot of talking about 4-stroke versus 2-stroke, and people know me. People know that I prefer the 2. I mean, I've ridden 4-strokes my entire life. I didn't have a two-stroke until 2012. So it's really only been, what? Dang, I guess it's been 4 years that I've been introduced to the two-strokes. And in that time, I've just absolutely fallen in love. But even more so, what I've fallen in love with is just, I've fallen in love with the freaking dirt bike. As a, you know, general, just like I'm falling in love with the platform, the bike. And in the beginning, when I was starting out on these things, I was riding that 2009 450 YZF 450, and man, that thing just ate me up. And it wasn't a good bike to start out with. And I was kind of struggling on it, and then I go over to the two-stroke and just kind of changed my world. Well, I've been improving, as you can imagine, over the last number of years, and now the four-strokes are a lot of fun too.